Hello everyone, and welcome back to the film recap. Today I will review the trilogy of Harry Potter, start with the first installment, as the Philosopher's Stone. At the beginning of the movie, the white man uses a magical object to collect all the lights on his child entrance street. This is Professor Dumbledore. The meow next to him also turned into a woman. She was Professor McGonagall. Both of them were waiting for a very rude-looking uncle. Moments later, Hagrid rode his motorbike down from the sky and handed the child over to Professor Dumbledore. This boy with the lightning scar above is Harry Potter. The three of them brought Harry to the human world and entrusted him to his only aunt to be raised by Petunia. 10 years later, Potter woke up in the small room under the stairs to the sound of his aunt and her precious son deliberately running back and forth above his head. As soon as Harry opened the door, Dudley pushed him back, holding his lumpy head out into the dining room. Potter's job every morning is to prepare meals for the whole family. Meanwhile, Dudley mistakenly counted the number of gifts on the table and was upset because there was one less than last year. His parents had to repeatedly apologize and promise to buy 2 more gifts before the fat guy would calm down. To celebrate Dudley's birthday, the whole family went to the zoo. The fat guy looked at the sleeping snake uninterestingly, then knocked hard on the glass. But there was nothing he could do about it, so he angrily walked away. Harry stayed to confide in the snake. Unexpectedly, he heard and understood what the boy said. Potter was extremely surprised, but perhaps he inherited it from his parents. Very quickly, the boy became acquainted with the snake. At this moment, Dudley saw the snake moving and rushed to push Harry down to make room. The boy fell in pain, so he glared at the glass. Unexpectedly, the glass window just disappeared. Dudley fell inside. He was horrified as he watched the snake crawl across his body and out. The snake said thanks to Potter, then crawled away, leaving the guests in awe. The fat man stood up trembling and found that the glass had been restored to its original state. He was so scared that it made his parents extremely worried. Potter smiled contentedly, but was seen by the uncle, so he immediately dragged him home. Vernon angrily pulled Harry's hair and locked him in the room. Dudley's parents sent him to a prestigious school. Harry only studied at a small school and wore the old fat guy's uniform dyed. Someone was delivering letters outside. Potter went to receive them and discovered that one of them was addressed to him. He was so happy that he wanted to take it down and read it right away. But before that, Dudley discovered him. He snatched the letter from him and gave it to his father. Then the whole family opened their eyes wide, because this is the admission letter from the Hogwarts Magic School. He tore up every letter sent to him. Then he even sealed up the mailbox. But more and more owls landed in front of their house. When he goes to work, he also receives tons of letters. When he makes food, he cracks the eggs and it's all trash. There were so many letters that he had to sit and burn them every day until his hands were tired. The whole family can only think far away on Sunday, because Vernon thinks no one delivers letters these days. But he did not know that hundreds of owls were arrayed in front of his house. A letter landed right in his face. Then the whole house was shaken by thousands of letters flying in from the fireplace. Potter happily grabbed a letter and fled into his room. But he was caught by him. Outside, the letter looks like it was breaking through the door. He just tried to hold on to the boy. Vernon was bitter and decided to leave his family and go to a remote island to avoid it. On a stormy, rainy night, it was also Harry's 11th birthday. Waiting for the whole family to fall asleep, the boy could draw himself a cake. The boy said, "Make a wish, Harry," and it seems the wish really worked. The wooden door was repeatedly hit, causing the whole family to wake up in panic. Potter also quickly huddled in a corner. The door fell down, and in walked a mossy giant. Who else besides Mr. Hagrid? Terrified, Vernon pointed the gun at him, but with just one hand he bent it, making them not dare to act anymore. Hagrid gave Harry a cake he made himself, then used an umbrella to light the fire in the oven to fix it. The boy was interested and asked who he was. Hagrid said he was a groundskeeper at Hogwarts School, but the boy knew nothing about that school. Seeing this, he told Harry he is also a wizard just like his parents. Potter didn't really understand why he said his parents died in accident. At this moment, Hagrid personally handed him the letter: magical magnetic field and kumquat magic. Potter didn't expect this to be something he tried to hide from himself. At that time, the mean woman showed her jealousy towards his mother. Even though her sister was always praised, but to her, she was just a freak, and her grandchild Hagrid was nothing more than a liability. While everyone was arguing, the fat guy stole Potter's cake. Hagrid saw it and gave Dudley a pig's tail. While the whole family was scared, Potter chose to follow Uncle Hagrid. To start the new school year, the boy had to buy a few things. He took Hagrid to the heart of London into a seemingly normal restaurant. But when people hear the name of Potter, immediately turned his gaze towards the boy. The most excited was Professor Quirrell, professor of the Department of Obsessive Singing Prevention. Then he led Hagrid to a wall, used the umbrella to knock a few times on the bricks. They immediately moved and then seriously washed in 2 rows. In front of him right now was a crowded street called Diagon Alley. On both sides of the road there are many stalls selling magical items, floating objects, wands, and even extremely cute cat bags. Potter loves it, but how can he have any money? Hagrid then took him to the witch bank. Inside are very smart and fastidious goblins. He went to see the banker and asked to withdraw money for Harry Potter. The old man leaned forward and looked at him, then asked Hagrid if he had the key. Only then did Hagrid remember, giving him the key and a letter from Dumbledore. After viewing it, he took 2 people to vault number 687. When the vault door was opened, Potter stared at a mountain of gold in front of him. This is the property that his parents left him. Then the two went through another tunnel. The goblin uses its fingernails to make a line in the air. A series of mechanisms opened, containing only a stone inside. Uncle Hagrid put it in his pocket and told him not to tell anyone. Then he took Harry to the wand shop to choose one. Inside he met a strange uncle. As soon as he looked, he knew it was Harry. The old man chose a wand for him and he waved it. With a wave of Potter's hand, a series of boxes were thrown out. The boy was scared and put it back on the table. He got him another wand. This time Harry broke the flower pot. Finally he chose a wand deep inside the store. Carefully give it to the boy. Potter just held it in his hand. Around him the wind blew and the light lit up, causing scars on the boy. Potter asked who that person was. He told them not to call him by name. A scary person who also did great things. So he also looks forward to you. At this time Hagrid returned. Uncle bought him a white owl as a birthday gift. During the meal, Hagrid asked about his scar. Hagrid says not all witches are good. Some are corrupted. Many years ago there was a person who became extremely cruel. The name is Voldemort. It was the darkest period in wizarding history. He gathered degenerates to his side. Anyone who opposes him dies. Harry's parents were also murdered because of their courage to fight him. Only you are still alive, because he can't do anything to Potter, so he left a dark curse on him. That's why Harry became famous in the wizarding world. The next day, they both went to the station. Hagrid had to go first, so he gave the boy the ticket. Potter realized the station on the ticket did not exist. The bewildered boy pushed the luggage cart to search. He asked the security guard, but he thought Harry was joking. Luckily, the boy saw his precious family. They arrived at a stone pillar between platforms 9 and 10. Then the 2 older boys crashed into it and disappeared. Potter asked and was carefully taught by him. The boy followed, closing his eyes and rushing straight in. Then he actually saw a train. Harry happily boarded the train. Up here, the boy gets acquainted with Ron. When he found out this was Potter, he gasped. Look, Ron only brought a package of cakes from home. Harry used the money to buy a whole cart of snacks. Ron sat down to eat very happily. Every Potter is still unfamiliar to them. The food and toys here are all strange things. He opened the candy box. Inside the box jumped out a chocolate frog. Behind him is an animated image of the principal Dumbledore. At this time, Ron said he could turn mouse fur yellow, but when he cast the spell, he couldn't remember the spell. Hermione was looking for a frog that stalked by them. She is very lively and intelligent. Just use a simple spell. Harry's glasses were fixed. It was dark when everyone arrived. Uncle Hagrid picked me up and took the boat to school. Hogwarts is a magnificent ancient castle. The freshmen came to see Miss McGonagall. She talked about regulations and the house sorting ceremony. The school consists of 4 houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Students with good performance will receive bonus points. Any mistakes will be deducted. At the end of the year, the house with the highest score will win a trophy. Malfoy is here to get to know Harry, but because of his disdain for Ron's family. So that made Potter hate him and refuse to make friends. After a while, all the first years were allowed to go to the party. The inside is spacious, with candles floating in the air. With the transparent roof, you can see the night sky. Headmaster Dumbledore spoke first. He angrily told everyone not to enter the forest and forbidden to enter the room on the right of the 3rd floor. The caretaker and his cat will dare to show them off. If you violate, you will receive a painful death. Next, McGonagall held a sorting ceremony for everyone, by giving them a talking hat on their head. Malfoy was quickly assigned to Slytherin. Now Potter noticed every time he saw the way he looked at him. The scar on his forehead started to hurt again. Hermione and Ron were assigned to the House Gryffindor. Harry, the hat's turn, spoke a lot, because he remembered what Ron said. Degenerate witches are all born from home Slytherin. So Potter mistakenly thought he didn't want to go into that house. After the house was assigned, everyone started to party. The ghosts of nobles everywhere in the castle also flew out. Other students who were already familiar with him also visited and asked a few questions. Every student is afraid of not being able to eat. After mealtime, the elders lead the children to the living areas of each house. The stairs here can move, and the people in the painting can move. The Gryffindor family is brought before a painting of a lady. After saying the password, you can go inside. The big brother assigned rooms to everyone, male left, female right. While everyone was building, Harry and his owl stayed up admiring the night view. So on the morning of the first day of class, he and Ron were late. Both thought McGonagall had not yet arrived. Unexpectedly, the cat on the table turned into her, making both fans howl. The next class is studying potions with Mr. Snape. He is extremely difficult to get along with people, but very biased towards the Slytherin family. He saw that Harry was not paying attention, asked you many questions. The boy wondered why Hermione wasn't called when she raised her hand. Angry expression that Potter paid the fine. So I put him in the first book to sit. Deduct points from the entire Gryffindor family. At lunchtime, a flock of the best owl shippers of all time delivered letters and gifts to everyone. Harry has no family members, so I borrowed Ron's newspaper to read. He suddenly discovered a bank robbery from the dark side. When it was time for flying lessons, the teacher told everyone to stand next to their brooms and speak up. As soon as Harry said so, he immediately received the broom. While Ron was calling, his throat hurt and he was hit in the face with a broom handle. When it came to learning to ride a broom, the teacher blew the whistle and his friend Neville flew into the sky, to everyone's surprise. His broom rebelled and crashed into the city wall. Even the teacher couldn't stop it in time. In the end, he got stuck on the sword on the statue, fell down and broke his arm. She quickly took him to the medical room. Neville's Remembrall was picked up by Malfoy. Harry came to reclaim it for him, but he no longer flew high. Evil throws the ball away. Potter quickly followed. Yet I was able to capture it in front of McGonagall's room window. Friends cheered the boy, but Harry was immediately called away by her. I thought I was being reprimanded. Unexpectedly, McGonagall recommended him. Take the position of the Seeker of the enemy department. Tin Harry became the youngest player of the century. The ghosts quickly spread throughout the castle. Ron's two older brothers were also attackers in that sport. Potter was both happy and worried, because this was a highly difficult game. Hermione immediately told him not to be afraid. Then take them both to one place. It turns out that Harry's father was also a famous Seeker. On the way the three returned home, suddenly the stairs moved by themselves, taking them all to another room. They realized this was the forbidden third floor. Saw Teacher Filch's cat. The group quickly ran to a door but couldn't open it. Hermione brought out her wand, read a spell, and the door immediately opens. The three temporarily avoided Teacher Filch, but facing a giant three-headed dog. The three children screamed and ran out, using all their strength to close the door. On the way back, Hermione said, "The girl saw that dog lying on a door. I thought it was guarding something." The next day, Senior Oliver took Harry to get acquainted with Quidditch. Each team has 7 people, with 3 different types of balls. They will throw it through round holes to score points. The largest ball is not surprising, but the next result is a bad character. As soon as I unlocked it, it flew around. Potter conveniently grabbed it and whipped it. In the end, Oliver had to throw it away, and was able to hug it and lock it. The Seeker's task is to catch the smallest golden ball, a winged ball that is fast and good at hiding. Just catching it is considered an instant victory. Come to the class to control objects to fly. John recited the spell and waved his wand to break, but the feather was also silent, while Hermione easily controlled it to fly high. But the guy sitting next to Harry, because he recited the spell incorrectly, the feather exploded and his face turned black. After school, Ron said bad things because he was a jerk, Hermione. She accidentally heard it, so she angrily left. That night, the Halloween party took place. Everyone is happily eating and drinking, when Master Quirrell ran in to announce the giant's death, then fell down and fainted. The whole scene immediately became chaotic. The principal spoke up to reassure the students. Tell the first year to follow his big brother home. The teachers went to the basement together. After walking for a while, Harry and Ron remembered Hermione was still in the bathroom, so I ran there to warn the girl. As soon as Hermione stepped out, she saw a pair of giant green legs. The girl panicked and ran into her room and closed the door. But with just one splash, it destroyed the room. At this time, 2 hairy people ran over and quickly grabbed the piece and threw it. Hermione escaped to the sink, but he was discovered by the devil and immediately fell down. Seeing that, Potter grabbed his napkin and hung it on his neck. The giant monster struggled. So panicked, he stuck his wand into its nose. But he was quickly caught by the troll. Faced with an emergency situation, Ron used his wand to control the flow of magic from the troll's hand and fly it up. The club fell and hit its head, causing it to lose consciousness. At this time, the teachers also came running. Hermione then took all the blame on herself, causing her to lose 5 points. As for Ron and Harry, they were reprimanded, but still get 10 bravery points. But Potter accidentally saw a wound on Professor Quirrell's leg. He even hid his secrets. After this, the 3 became good friends. The next day, Potter told his 2 friends, the professor may be the one who released the troll, to take the opportunity to go down to the 3-headed dog basement. Harry thought the stone was cut below. Hagrid brought it back. At this time, the owl brought Harry a beautiful broom. He absolutely loved it. The next day, both teams began their first decisive match of the new school year. After flying around for a while, both teams took position. Madam Hooch gasped and released the balls. The snitch immediately flew away. A Gryffindor chaser quickly surpassed the players, took the quaffle in and got the first 10 points. Slytherin's team is mean. When competing for the ball, he kicked the opponent away, but the ball was still blocked by Oliver. Moments later, Gryffindor scored another 10 points. Makes them extremely rushed. Conduct dirty playing formation. He used the bat to hit a bludger at Oliver, causing him to fall to the ground. He was eliminated. Eliminated the goalkeeper. They immediately scored 10 points for their house. Slytherin then suppressed a rival female friend, causing her to crash and fall down. But the snitch, lacking energy, proactively sought out Harry. The boy immediately chased after it. Suddenly, the broom stopped. throwing him onto the shore and into the field. Hermione guessed it was a wizard. He quickly sneaked up and burned the hem of his shirt. If so, Harry would have promptly climbed up the hill to chase the golden shadow. The Seeker on the other side also chased after him. He tried to use all his strength to send Harry flying, at the point where the broom crashed straight into the ground. Because he was afraid of falling, he turned the steering wheel early, and Potter still kept chasing. He skillfully steered, then kept his balance and stood up. When I put my hand on the shaft, the golden ball fell and rolled. Makes everyone extremely worried. Thought Harry was eliminated. Unexpectedly, the boy spat out the golden ball from his mouth. So Gryffindor won in everyone's joy, except for the Slytherin family. After the competition, the three told Uncle Hagrid about the teacher's abnormality, but he didn't believe it, and accidentally revealed to the three that it was his Omer. Hagrid lent it to the principal to keep things in the basement. He even accidentally said the name Nicholas. Suddenly, it's Christmas. Hagrid brought back a large pine tree. Hermione, like the other students, went home for winter break. Ron stayed with him because his parents were away. Before leaving, she also revealed to both of them they can learn about someone named Nicholas in a restricted area of the library. The next morning, Harry was very happy when he also received a gift. It was the cloak of invisibility from his father. So that night, Potter wore it to the forbidden library. Only contains one hand to hold the lamp. The boy chose a book and opened it. Unexpectedly, a human face appeared on the paper. He screamed, causing Teacher Filch to discover. Because he was in a hurry, the boy broke the lamp. Potter put on his cloak and hid in a corner. When he passed, he snuck out. His cat noticed something and reached out to grab his robe. Discovered by him. Teacher Filch also walked out in panic. Say someone broke into the restricted area. On this side, Potter entered a room, saw the big mirror, with the words, "I don't look at the face, but the wishes in the heart." The boy looked inside and saw his parents behind him. When Harry called, they smiled at him. The boy immediately returned to find Ron. "I want to go back to my parents with him." But when Ron looked in the mirror, "I just see myself becoming the captain," still holding the cup in his hand. Potter was extremely disappointed. The whole next day he sadly sat and watched the furnace repair. Ron came to comfort Potter and asked him to go out, but his mood still didn't improve at all. That night, he sat down again and looked in the mirror. Dumbledore arrived. He told him someone had spent their whole life watching it, and immerse yourself in delusion and go crazy. So tomorrow it will be moved. He hopes Harry will live his current life well. Then winter break ended. All students returned to school to prepare for final exams. Hateful Malfoy still bullies Neville. Locking his legs made Neville have to find Harry every day. At the same time, the trio discovered the news about Nicholas. They immediately went to the library. Hermione pulled out a big enough book. It says, "Nicholas is an old friend of Dumbledore. He is an alchemist and creator of the Philosopher's Stone. Legend has it that it can turn anything into gold, and create the elixir of immortality." That night, the three decided to go to Hagrid's house. He refused to meet until he heard about the Philosopher's Stone. They said the professor wanted to steal it, but Hagrid still doesn't believe it, because he was also in a hurry to protect that stone. Today he just can't sit still, because I'm incubating an egg that was given to me. The eggs started to hatch, so he brought them out and placed them on the table. From inside came out a small wing. It turned out to be a rare dragon. He named it Norbert. It's so adorable it spits a mouthful of fire. Almost turned Hagrid into a hillbilly. But these things all have bad names. Malfoy saw it. He ran back to tell McGonagall, causing them all to get points deducted and get detention. Who would have thought that this included the accuser? Because Malfoy also sneaks out during curfew. The teacher handed over the 4 children to Hagrid to be punished. He's still sad because the principal confiscated his dragon. All 4 patrolled the Forbidden Forest. Hagrid saw the bloodstains of the unicorn. Guessing it was seriously injured, we split up to look for it. Harry is divided into a group with Malfoy and Uncle Hagrid's dog. On the way, he always complained, and I affirm that I am not a coward. But as soon as I saw a guy wearing a black cloak, sucking unicorn blood, he left Harry behind and ran away. The mysterious man approached Potter. The boy was afraid to step back and trip. Luckily, a centaur came to repel him and save Harry. He even told you, the one who sucks the unicorn's blood to maintain life is Voldemort, and he will use the Philosopher's Stone to regenerate his body. At this time, Malfoy also brought Uncle Hagrid over. After returning, Potter told the two of them about Voldemort's plans. Hermione said Dumbledore would provide good protection. The next day, the 3 went to Hagrid again. Ask who is the mysterious person who gave him the dragon egg. He also doesn't know, but because he saw his enthusiasm, he told the 3 how to calm the 3-headed dog. 3 people immediately thought that person was Professor Quirrell. Panicked, he ran to find Dumbledore, but he has already flown to London. Harry warns McGonagall that the stone is about to be stolen, but she didn't believe it and sent them all back to the dormitory. So it was decided that tonight all 3 would sneak into the basement. But by chance he was discovered by Neville, so Hermione had to cast a spell to immobilize him. All 3 wore invisibility cloaks and went to the 3-headed dog. There was a harp that made him fall asleep. The group then pushed its legs aside to open the cellar door. It was pitch black below. At this time, the 3-headed dog was still awake. They didn't even have time to discuss. Jumped down quickly and fell into a bunch of vines. They move and wrap around people. Hermione recognized this as Devil's Snare. As long as they relax, it will release. She did so and was actually dropped downstairs. Harry also fell down. There's no way to relax because it's so tight it's about to kill. Luckily, Hermione remembered they were afraid of light, so I performed a spell to save him. The three went into a room again, saw thousands of winged keys flying in the air. In front there was a broom. Harry looked around and discovered the correct key. Decided to send a broom to catch it. The keys immediately surrounded him, making capture even more difficult. Potter rounded the corner and caught it, throwing it to Hermione. The girl promptly opened the door for the three to run in, lock the keys on the outside. Then they all entered a giant stone chessboard. When they were about to continue, they were immediately stopped by soldiers drawing their swords. So all three have to win the game to pass. The white piece takes the first step. Seeing a series of chess pieces being smashed to pieces, everyone was very scared. In the end, there were only a few troops left. Ron decided to move forward to let the queen eat him, create an opportunity for Harry to kill the king. People stop it because it's too dangerous, but he was determined to move forward. The queen immediately came. She pulled out a sword and stabbed the knight, causing the boy to fall to the ground unconscious. Hermione was worried and wanted to go check, but they cannot leave while playing. Harry went to checkmate the king. The sword in the king's hand fell and they won. Potter told Hermione to stay and take care of Ron, then go outside and tell Dumbledore, and I will continue. The boy went inside. Unexpectedly, the person he saw was not Professor Snape. That's Quirrell. It turned out that Mr. Snape was the one who always helped Harry. He tried to break Quirrell's curse during the decisive battle. At this time, the scar on Harry's head was extremely painful. A strange voice rang out, "Make Harry look in the mirror." He saw himself taking out the Philosopher's Stone from his pocket. Potter tried reaching into his pocket, and it was really in his pocket. Potter lied in panic. "I only see Dumbledore." But he knew the boy was lying. Immediately take off the turban. Unexpectedly, there was another face behind Quirrell's head. He is Voldemort. Harry ran away in fear, but just a snap of Quirrell's fingers blocked the exit. Voldemort said, "If you are on my side, we'll bring your parents back." Harry looked in the mirror and saw his parents, smiling. For a moment he hesitated, but he knew he was tricking him. Quirrell immediately rushed to hook Potter's neck. Right at the critical moment, the boy grabbed his hand. Unexpectedly, it was burned. Seeing that, the boy rushed forward and grabbed his face Quirrell, making him instantly melt into pieces. Voldemort's angry soul passed through Harry's body and fled. He held the stone in his hand and fainted. When Potter woke up, he was in the hospital wing, with lots of gifts and cakes. Dumbledore said it was from Harry's admirers. Although the stone has been destroyed, but Voldemort would still find a way to return. Potter asked why the stone was in his pocket. He said that only those who want to find it, but don't use it, can have it. And it was Harry's mother who saved him. Her love inside him made Quirrell burn. Dumbledore touched the boy's head, then ate one piece of candy. Harry left the hospital to find his two friends. Then everyone attended the year-end party. The principal started announcing the scores of the four houses. Gryffindor was criticized too much, so it ranked last. And at the top is Slytherin. But he continued speaking. Because Hermione and Ron were very good, they were given 50 points. But Harry, because of his purity and courage, was given an additional 60. The most surprising thing is that Neville was also given 10 points for defending the regulations. So in the end, Gryffindor became the winner. All the flags in the room simultaneously turned red and gold. Everyone happily celebrated the victory, while Malfoy swallowed his anger. At the end of the school year, everyone goes home for summer vacation. Before leaving, Harry went to hug Hagrid. He gave him the album, including animated images of Potter's parents, extremely happy holding her little son. Harry charmingly kept waving to him until the train disappeared. Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets. Harry is spending the summer at his Aunt Vernon's house. He looked back at the photo album that Mr. Hagrid gave him. The pet owl that was not allowed to fly and jump began to protest. That gave his uncle the opportunity to scold him again. Seeing that, Potter asked the uncle to let him go out for a walk, but Vernon wouldn't let it. But from the time I left school until now, he hasn't received any letters from his two friends. Made Harry very sad. Still being mocked by the Dursleys. The family is planning a big business deal soon. As soon as Harry heard it, he immediately wrote down his identity. He was asking for his signature in the bedroom, but as soon as he entered the room, he saw the house elf. Potter very politely invited him to sit down, made it very touching and tearful, because no one has ever treated a house elf so well. Because of your greatness, Dobby almost said bad things about his master, so he punished himself by banging his head against a wooden cabinet, causing guests downstairs to hear. Dobby said he came here to warn Harry, don't go back to Hogwarts School. There is a dangerous plot about to take place there. He asked who the house elf was, but couldn't say, so he hit the lamp on his head again. Potter walked over and snatched it back and put it in the closet. Before the show, Vernon got mad and scolded him. Harry later found out because he didn't want him to go to school. Dobby had hidden a stack of letters from Ron and Hermione. He immediately told the house elf. Harry disagrees. It immediately snapped its fingers. The cake flew up. He was scared and wanted to stop, but there was no time. The whole cake fell on the head of the distinguished guest. The elf snapped his fingers and disappeared. Loss of good business. Mr. Vernon got mad and locked Potter up, so that you don't have to go back to school and learn weird things again. On the night of Harry's birthday, he heard a strange noise. He put on his glasses and saw a moving star. When I looked closer, I saw it was a car. The people in the car were none other than the Weasley brothers. Potter quickly packed his bags. Ron tied a rope to the window and pulled it down. There was a house below that was built and immediately ran up, but the bars on the window wait for him to finish unlocking dozens of door locks. Harry had already loaded his things into the car. He jumped into the car and the old man grabbed his leg. Ron quickly drove away, dragging Vernon into the bushes below. The next morning, the car arrived at Ron's house. Dishes washed themselves. The grandfather clock has an animated image of the family. Wool is also woven by itself. At this moment, the mother of them all rushed out to prepare to scold her sons. When he saw Harry, he was extremely happy. Now Father Weasley returns. He is an employee at the Ministry of Magic. Listening to his wife tell the story of his son driving his flying car to save Harry, he also asked how the experience was. Also, the family owl. It flew from afar and landed straight on the glass door. Percy took the letter. It comes from Hogwarts. Dumbledore even sent one to Harry. It contains information about things to buy for the new school year. Molly decided to use a magic spell to take the whole family to Diagon Alley. Each person took a handful of flue powder and walked into the fireplace. Then he threw it down and a blue flame immediately rose up. But it's Harry's turn. Because of stress, the boy mistakenly said Diagon Alley as Nocturne Alley. So he crawled out into an old and dusty place. The glasses were also cracked on one side. Potter stood up and saw the room filled with skulls and a corally painted hand. He curiously placed his hand and was suddenly held tightly by the hand. Potter pulled away in panic. It returned to its original position. He went out and encountered strange people. They proactively approached and wanted to take him home. Luckily, Uncle Hagrid appeared in time to get him out of there. The two reached the Diagonal Alley when they met Hermione. She was so happy that she even helped him fix his glasses. Hermione took Harry to the Weasleys. Everyone is waiting for Gilderoy Lockhart, an author in the magical world. He saw Harry and pulled him up to take a photo. Say you're a fan of my book series. Then gave Harry all the books he had written. Mrs. Weasley immediately used those books to get autographs. Only the children went out, so I encountered Malfoy. The guy is Malfoy. Draco immediately responded haughtily. At this time, her father stepped forward to stop his son. Lucius shook Potter's hand and lifted his hair to look at his scar. Now Hermione stands up for him, Harry. Draco scolded the girl for being a mudblood, because he comes from a muggle family. Then take Draco's book to read. Mockery of the Weasleys' poor family. This side, Mr. Weasley came. I can't bear to see an old man bully a group of children. He spoke up, causing both of them to end up unhappy. By now, the Weasleys and Harry arrived at Station 9 3/4. This time, Harry is no stranger. But when the Weasley parents and the others went through the wall, then he and Ron fell headfirst outside. The entrance was sealed. The two had to find a way to catch the train to school. Ron quickly remembered his father's flying car. But when flying up, I forgot to press the invisibility button. Make some people see it. Both landed low to catch up with the train. But where is the train? Searched the line but couldn't find it. Finally discovered it behind them. Ron's face couldn't be more pale. They shouted loudly, then jumped out of the line. Fly around down the bridge, and then spin precariously overhead. The car swung violently, causing Harry to fall out. Just hold the door handle. Ron used all his strength to pull it up. The two of them escaped death. Follow the train to school. But before I could be happy, the car broke down, wriggling everywhere and then losing control. Ron used his wand, but before he could do anything, it broke in half. The two eventually landed against a tree. So that's it? Not yet. The two discovered it moving. Outside, the tree is using a branch to smash the car, causing the glass to break. A branch even penetrated into the car, tried to push the car down. Ron quickly started the car away, before being flattened like a pancake. As soon as they entered the school, they met the headmaster. So I was invited to the office. Snape gave them a newspaper with a photo of their flying car. It was seen by at least 7 muggles. Not to mention, the landing also damaged the ancient Humping Willow. He wants to expel both of them. When Professor Dumbledore arrived, he said this was a Gryffindor student, so only McGonagall has the right to handle it. In the end, both were only sent letters to their parents and grounded for a while. Everyone starts entering the new school year. First lesson in the greenhouse. They had to uproot the mandrake plant. It can make potions to revive those who have been turned to stone. But the cry of the mandrake is also very dangerous. With an excellent answer from Hermione, Gryffindor family received a bonus of 10 points. Malfoy playfully stuck his tongue out and bit it. Time to eat. Ron took the food. At this moment, an owl flew in. With this clumsy landing, it can only be a Weasley owl. Ron was horrified when he realized it was a howler. As soon as he opened the piece of paper, it turned into a mouth. Mother's scolding voice rang out. Because of Ron's mistake, his father was also investigated. At the end of the letter, she congratulated Ginny on her first day of school. The letter also tore itself. Lockhart became a teacher in the art of defense against the dark arts. Even though it looks like a show-off, but he was very popular with the female students. Lockhart said today he would teach students to control scary creatures in the world of witches. Everyone is looking forward to it. But when he opened the cage, there were only small pixies inside. Before anyone could react, Lockhart immediately released them. And they were like a storm, flying wildly and wreaking havoc everywhere. They also pulled Neville's ears up and tied him to the chandelier. The students ran away in panic. Harry used a book to knock one over. As soon as Lockhart pulled out his wand, they took it away. The pixie cast a spell to break the rope, causing the chandelier to fall. Seeing that the situation was out of control, Lockhart ran away. Finally, Hermione used an immobilization spell to trap them. The next day, Captain Oliver took everyone to practice for Quidditch. Unexpectedly, when he entered the field, he encountered the Slytherin team. They came here to train new Seekers. It's Malfoy. The reason his father gave each member of the team a genuine broomstick. Ron and Hermione felt dissatisfied, so they went over to defend their family. Draco had scolded the girl for being a mudblood. Ron was angry for his friend, so he cursed him. But because the wand was broken, the magic was reflected on him. Ron vomited slugs. Harry and Hermione quickly brought him to find Uncle Hagrid. There was no solution, so Ron could only hold the bucket and continue vomiting. Hermione was upset when she was called a mudblood. Uncle Hagrid held her hand and comforted her. He says that these days they are all hybrid witches. At night, Harry helps the teacher sing and answer fan letters. Suddenly, he heard whispering sounds. But Hagrid didn't hear it, even said Potter heard wrongly. On the way back, he still heard that whisper. Harry followed the voice and met two close friends, but they didn't hear anything. Even so, he still believed Potter. The three saw spiders forming a line and crawling out the window. On the wall was written in blood that secret chamber had been opened. Enemies of the successor, beware. Next to it there was also the teacher's cat, Mrs. Norris, hanging stiff. Other students also came together. The caretaker suspected that Harry had attacked his cat and wanted to kill the boy. Now the principal came and said that the cat was just petrified and could still be cured. Then he ordered everyone to return to the room. Harry said he didn't do anything. The teacher said he didn't see him in the cafeteria earlier. Luckily, Lockhart stood up to testify for Potter. The next day, it was Professor McGonagall's class. She recited the spell to turn her bird into a cup. Ron did as he did, but because the wand was broken, so he turned the mouse into a cup with a tail. Suddenly, Hermione stopped and asked about the secret chamber. After thinking for a moment, McGonagall told him, "Thousands of years ago, this place was founded by 4 famous wizards, which are the names of the 4 houses in the school. But Salazar Slytherin only wanted to accept students from pure-blood wizard families. Because of disagreements, he left. Legend has it that Slytherin built a hidden room in the castle. Only his true successor can open it and unleash the monster within that purifies those of low birth." The Harry trio thought maybe Malfoy was the heir, so they thought of a way to approach his 2 close friends to find out information. Hermione found information about the Polyjuice potion, a drug that makes the person who drinks it change into the shape of another person. But the recipe is too complicated. It takes a month to prepare. At the opening match, the Slytherin captain served the ball, and a Gryffindor immediately came forward to take the shot. She got close and was snatched back by her opponent. Slytherin's side scored again and took the lead 9-3. While Malfoy joined just to tease Harry. At this moment, a bludger came towards Harry, but luckily you were able to dodge it. The commentator, trying to remind Potter to focus, was hit by a bludger. Then it frantically chased Harry. He ran around the pitch, but still couldn't avoid it. Oliver came over and saw. Ron wanted to help Harry, but was afraid of hurting him. The bludger crashed through the spectators and chased Potter. He looked back worriedly and almost crashed into the high platform in front. Malfoy happily looked at the person in distress flying to tease him. At this time, Harry saw the snitch next to him. He dodged the bludger and then chased after the snitch. The two flew down below the stands. The bludger broke a bunch of wooden bars. In a moment, Potter had surpassed the other seeker. Malfoy angrily yelled at Harry. The bludger rushed forward and he dodged, but then it caught him again. Potter's evasive action was well avoided. Malfoy crashed into the railing and was fine, while his father sat in the stands, feeling helpless. Harry reached out his hand to catch the snitch. Then the bludger hit his hand. The boy winced and then used his other hand to catch the ball, again bringing victory to Gryffindor. But the bludger is still not stopped. It continuously smashed down around Harry's body. Hermione ran over and used magic to make it explode. Lockhart confidently offered to fix your hand, but after turning Potter's hand into jelly, everyone ended up having to go to the hospital wing. At night, Harry heard that whisper again. He sat up to look around and saw Dobby. Knowing that the house elf had blocked him from entering the station and controlled the bludger to chase him, Harry angrily chased him away. Dobby doesn't want to hurt Harry. I'm just a slave, so I have to obey my master's orders. And only when the house elf is given clothes can he be set free. Harry was inquiring when someone came in. Dobby quickly snapped his fingers and disappeared, but the principal came in. They brought the petrified Colin to the hospital wing, guessing he had taken a picture of something, so Dumbledore opened the camera to see, but it immediately was ruined. He announced that the secret chamber had been opened again. This place was no longer safe. The next day, Harry told his 2 close friends. Ron guessed that the person who opened the secret room for the first time was Riddle, and this time it was Malfoy. Hermione is brewing the potion. Suddenly, Ron, coughing, rushed out to the bathroom, then screamed and crawled into the toilet. At night, Lockhart opens the dueling club to teach the students how to defend themselves. First, he invited Snape to show him off. He only threw one move, and Lockhart was thrown 8 meters away. He stood up and had Harry and Malfoy to fight. Lockhart had only counted to 2 when Malfoy made the first move and threw Potter away. He angrily stood up and retaliated, causing the man to fall at Snape's feet. He helped Malfoy up. He released a cobra. Lockhart showed off again, but only made it fly high and then fall back to the same place. The snake turned to attack the student next to it. In the moment of danger, Harry used Parseltongue to tell it to stop. Snape took the opportunity to make it disappear. But now the whole school looked on in horror at Harry. Since the only one capable of using Parseltongue is Slytherin, they began to assume that you were his descendant. Potter lost his composure and left first. When he got to the hallway, he heard the whisper of "kill, tear." Harry followed and saw nearly headless Nick petrified, and another student turned to stone. The caretaker suddenly appeared and blamed all the mistakes on him. McGonagall led Harry to Dumbledore's room. He walked up the moving stairs and was taken to a room. Potter went inside and saw the Sorting Hat. He said you would develop better in Slytherin. Harry firmly said he was wrong. After that, the Phoenix suddenly burst into flame. He was surprised when he heard Dumbledore say that the Phoenix will be reborn from its ashes. They are loyal. Phoenix tears can also heal all wounds. At this moment, the ashes had indeed raised a small head. Dumbledore turned to ask Harry if there was anything he wanted to tell him, but he hid it from him. Winter comes. White snow covers everywhere. Everyone returned to school. During the meal, Hermione gave to the two of them polyjuice potions soaked into a cake with an anesthetic, told them to trick Crabbe and Goyle and get their hair, then pull out their hair and take their clothes. Ron was about to use his broken wand again. Fortunately, Harry stopped him, making 2 cakes float in the path of the 2 greedy eaters. They ate the cake without a doubt, then fell onto the ground. After completing their mission, the 2 went to the bathroom to meet with Hermione. She poured the potion into 3 cups containing hair. Harry changed into Crabbe. Ron also turned into Goyle, but Hermione told them to go first. So the 2 of them went to Slytherin's living room. As soon as I went out, I met Mr. Malfoy. Luckily, Crabbe and Goyle came to relieve them. Returning to his room, Malfoy spoke ill of Dumbledore. Harry couldn't stand it anymore, so he protested, almost exposing himself. Malfoy calmly asked him if he knew who Slytherin's successor would be, but other than that, she didn't know anything. He only heard his father say that 50 years ago, someone opened the door to the secret room, killing a student, and the culprit was expelled from school. At this time, the potion gradually loses its effectiveness. Harry's face and Ron's height are also exposed. The 2 quickly lied and ran away. When he went to the bathroom, he discovered that Hermione's potion had been mistakenly made with a cat hair and turned into a cat. After taking her to the hospital wing, the 2 returned and saw the corridor flooded. The 2 of them went into the bathroom to Moaning Myrtle. She said she had a book thrown at her head. Harry picked up the book from the water. He went back to his room and looked, but there was nothing in there. And behind it is the name Tom Riddle. He wrote his name. Entering the book, the text disappears, then reappears, greeting Harry. "I'm Tom Riddle." You asked him if he knew about the secret room? Tom said he would take him back 50 years to see it with his own eyes. The book suddenly glowed, sucking Potter inside. He walked along the hallway and saw Tom. But it seems he didn't see you. But above, the teachers brought down a student. Dumbledore asked Tom a few questions, but didn't seem to trust him. Harry followed Tom through a winding hallway. They saw a door. He blamed Hagrid's monster for killing people. He was protecting the Acromantula. But Tom made the huge spider come out. Potter wanted to ask Hagrid why, but at this moment he was suddenly pulled back to reality. Harry immediately ran to tell his 2 friends. They all didn't want to believe Hagrid is a bad person, but Dumbledore has been standing behind them ever since. Harry said he was helping revive people who were petrified. Colin Creevey ran in panic, reported that Gryffindor Tower had been invaded by someone, ransacked everything, and took my book, Tom Riddle. The next day, the decisive match was about to begin. Then McGonagall declared that it was cancelled. She took Harry and Ron to the hospital wing, because Hermione was petrified. The girl was found near the library with a mirror in her hand, and the school started imposing a 6 p.m. curfew. Wherever students go, they must be accompanied by a teacher. And worse, the school may have to close if the culprit is still not caught. That night, Harry and Ron used invisibility cloaks to go to Uncle Hagrid's house. He asked him if he knew who opened the secret room door. But no one has come from outside yet. Both of them hid. Entering were Professor Dumbledore and the Minister of Magic. The minister accused Hagrid of harming 3 students and wanted to arrest him. The principal stood up to testify, but was suspended. The minister produced the letter. Includes 12 signatures of the council forcing him to resign. Before leaving, Uncle Hagrid left a signal. "Just follow the spider and you will awaken to the truth." Harry saw the spiders leaving through the window, took Ron with him into the Forbidden Forest. The 2 went deeper, and there were more and more spiders. Ron was scared and wanted to go back, but Harry went into the spider's cave. Deep inside came a voice. Harry said he was Hagrid's friend. Then a few big legs rose up. The giant Acromantula spider appears. He said Hagrid was framed. "I'm not a monster in the castle either. It is an ancient species that even spiders are afraid of." Suddenly, a horde of spiders came from all directions and approached the 2 of them. Arago had no intention of stopping his descendants. Just when the 2 thought they were going to die, the flying car came and took them out. Just as Ron breathed a sigh of relief, one jumped on his neck. Harry used his wand to blast it away. But it's not over yet. Even a flock of spiders also chased them. Ron drove as fast as he could before hitting a fallen tree and was able to fly away. The car took the two people back and then drove back into the forest. Every day after that, they both visited Hermione. This time, Harry held the girl's hand and discovered there was a piece of paper inside. Harry realizes that the monster in the secret room is a basilisk. Because everyone saw it through its reflection, it turned to stone without dying. Harry also guessed that the girl who died 50 years ago was Moaning Myrtle. At the same time, they heard teachers gathering on the second floor, so they ran over. A student was caught in a secret room. The teacher told Lockhart to help everyone. He told Lockhart to go back to my room to get ready. Ron was so scared that he realized the person being captured was his sister. So the two of them ran to find Lockhart, wanting to give him more information. But who would have thought that he was packing his things and running away? Lockhart confessed to being a fraud. It was revealed that he had planned to erase their memories, but the two boys were quicker. The three went to the bathroom to find Moaning Myrtle. She said she was hiding in the bathroom crying when she heard a noise. As soon as I left, I saw a pair of big yellow eyes in the sink. Harry went to see the snake image on the faucet and used Parseltongue. The sink was immediately separated, opening a pipe going down below. Lockhart tried to run but was forced by both of them to jump down first. After that, Harry and Ron also jumped. It was a winding pipe filled with bones underneath. The three went inside and saw a very long snakeskin. Lockhart pretended to faint and then stole Ron's wand, causing the ceiling to collapse, separating Ron and Harry. Lockhart cast a spell that backfired and doesn't remember who he is. Potter told Ron to stay and he would go look for Ginny. He came to a snake-shaped door, used the Parseltongue to make the snake run around and open the door. Harry went in and saw large statues of snake heads on both sides. Ginny lay unconscious at the end of the hallway. He kept calling, but Ginny didn't wake up. At this time, Tom came out. It turned out that the mastermind was him. Tom controlled Ginny to open the secret room. The basilisk harms people, and he wrote threats on the wall. When Ginny found out, she tried to throw the book into the sink, but unfortunately, Harry picked it up. And Tom is also Voldemort's memory. I know I can't fool Dumbledore, so I kept my 16-year-old self in my diary. Then he used a quill to write his name. Changing the order, it became I am Voldemort. In other words, Tom Riddle is Voldemort's childhood. Now the Phoenix brought Potter an old hat. Tom also quickly released the basilisk. It was a giant serpent. He ran but tripped and fell. The Phoenix then flew to poke its eyes. The snake heard the footsteps and attacked Harry. He ran into the pipe but ran to a dead end. As soon as I returned, I encountered the terrifying head of a basilisk. Potter held his breath and threw a rock to the side. The basilisk was distracted and went away. He ran to Ginny. Tom said as soon as she died, Voldemort would be reborn. This side, the monster is coming again. Harry suddenly saw a silver sword in his hat. He pulled it out and climbed onto the head statue. The snake roared at the statue, causing Harry to almost fall down. He held on with one hand and climbed up to the top of his head. After slashing a few times, he was knocked down by it. Looking at the sword about to fall, Harry lunged to catch it. By reflex, it pierced its mouth, but also got bitten on the hand. The basilisk screamed in pain and fell down dead. Harry pulled out its poisonous fangs and fell down next to Ginny. Tom thought he was winning, but Harry took the book from her hand, used the snake's fangs to stab it. The page of the book oozed fresh blood. Tom's image also flickered. Then Potter repeatedly stabbed into the book. Finally, Tom vanished. Ginny also woke up. Harry thought he was about to die, so he told her to go out and find Ron. At this time, the Phoenix flew in. It looked at Harry and cried. Tears fell, and the wound on his hand instantly healed. Then the Phoenix flew everyone out. Back at school, Dumbledore said the two of them had enough evidence to be expelled, but he decided to give them special awards because they both saved the school. Then he told Ron to take the papers to get his rat checked and to get Hagrid released. Dumbledore thanked Harry for always believing in Hagrid, and because of that, he was able to call Fawkes. Harry said he has some similarities with Tom. He said the ability could be part of what Voldemort gave you through the scar on my forehead. Although the Sorting Hat let Harry into Gryffindor because he asked, but that's what's different from Voldemort. Potter chose to decide his own path. The proof is that he helped the Gryffindor sword appear in that hat. At this time, Lucius entered. He pushed the boy away and questioned Dumbledore. He only said that some people were forced to sign the suspension letter because someone threatened them, and someone wanted to use the diary to revive Voldemort. If that person is found, he will receive appropriate consequences. Lucius angrily kicked Dobby away and left. Harry got the diary and chased after him. He exposed the story that he had put it in Ginny's pocket the day they met in the alley. Lucius threw a sock to the elf. Now Potter smiled and told the elf he was free. Lucius tried to use a magic wand to attack Harry, but Dobby stood in the way and used magic to knock him away. He left. Dobby wants to repair Harry. He said just don't stop him from going to school anymore. And then the year-end party has arrived. Sir Nicholas also regained his health and floated in the castle. Hermione also recovered. The little girl ran to hug Harry, but just shake Ron's hand. Dumbledore first commended the two teachers for making the antidote. And the second thing is what all students dream of at least once in their lives. That is, all exams are abolished. Finally, Uncle Hagrid returned. Because the Weasleys' owl got lost, he was released late. Hagrid thanked the three children for helping him clear his name. Harry stood up and hugged him. Everyone applauded simultaneously. So much so that Malfoy also wanted to stand up, but he was quickly pulled back. Another year of studying magic and wizardry passed by. This is Harry's second summer at his aunt and uncle's house, Vernon. At night, he sleeps under the blanket. Use a Lumos spell to read books. Uncle Vernon came in. He pretended to be asleep. The next morning, Harry asked him to sign a form to go to Hogsmeade. But this time, his Aunt Marge came to visit. The woman is a sour-mouthed aunt with a foul mouth. As soon as he arrived, she scolded everyone, while loving Dudley very much. When it was time to eat, Potter, as usual, had to serve the whole family. But she still wouldn't leave him alone. When Dudley whined, she screamed, causing the glass in her hand to shatter. Vernon intended to make peace, because he knew Harry was not easy to provoke. But Marge still kept insulting Harry's parents. Dare to compare him and his mother to freaks. Potter couldn't contain his anger and shouted at her to stop. She pointed her finger and wanted to teach him a lesson. Who would have thought that the wind was blowing violently? The lights went out. Her finger suddenly swelled up. Then the face and the whole body. Clothes couldn't contain that fat body and began to tear. Buttons flew everywhere. The woman floated like a balloon and hit the ceiling. Then it flew out with the wind. Vernon ran after her, wanting to hold her down, but he was not enough weight, so he chose to let go. She screamed in fear and flew into the sky. Harry immediately went into the room to pack his luggage. While going down the stairs, he was stopped by Vernon. He raised his wand to threaten him. If you don't let him go, he will turn you into a balloon too. Finally, after 3 books, Potter left that hellish house. He wandered the streets and really had nowhere to go, so sadly sat on the side of the road. He thought if you go at night, you might encounter danger. The street lights suddenly went out. The hedge behind him suddenly moved on its own. Harry turned around in panic to face a black dog with glowing eyes. From the bushes, he pulled out a stick to defend himself, but fell down. Fortunately, in the distance, a night bus for witches appeared, with the driver named Stan Shunkite. When Harry looked again, the dog from before was nowhere to be seen. So he got on this bus. There were several people sleeping in the car. Stan gave Harry a hot drink. Then he knocked on the window to signal the shrunken head hanging on the car. Tell the driver to drive. He flicked the lever and shot like he was flying on the road. Stan asked Harry where he wanted to go. He said he wanted to go to the Leaky Cauldron in London. Seeing Harry worried, the driver told him not to worry, because muggles couldn't see them. The car swerved left and right, making a sharp turn to easily enter the small road. In front is an old lady. He quickly swerved, causing Harry to hit his face against the glass door. Then they continued. The old lady just passed by and started driving again. At this moment, Potter saw the newspaper Stan was reading. Reported that a man had just escaped from Azkaban. He was curious and asked who it was. He said it was Sirius Black, is a dangerous murderer, and also be the first to be able to escape the dreaded Azkaban prison. He is also a henchman of you-know-who. Now Potter saw on the bridge 2 buses running parallel to each other. He didn't know how their car would pass. The driver very calmly pulled a lever, making the whole car flatten like a shrimp, squeezing into the space in the middle and passing by. Harry had not yet finished being surprised when he arrived. Tom, the barman, came out to greet him. Inside the shop are all wizard guests. The chairs also automatically fold onto the table. Potter was led to room 11. He saw Cornelius Fudge and the Minister of Magic. He said they found Aunt Marge and helped her land, as well as erasing all her memories. Harry is surprised that he used magic outside of school and hasn't been expelled yet. The minister said it was because of Sirius Black. He might harm Harry, so the school will be responsible for protecting you. Then he also gave him new books, announced tomorrow that you can return to school. The next morning, Potter was looking out the window when he heard movement. He walked over and saw a Magimatic book on the table. Then it hopped. The book opened its eyes wide, and as soon as it saw Harry, it attacked him. Harry jumped away and saw it go under the bed. He lowered his head to look, and it jumped out to grab him. Ron and Hermione arrived, and the book went back inside. Potter then grabbed it. As soon as he slammed it shut, he locked the book. As soon as Harry went out, he saw Crookshanks chasing Scabbers. Below, there was a familiar quarrel. He went downstairs to meet his 2 best friends. Ron excitedly told Potter about his family's summer vacation in Egypt. Seeing him, Uncle Arthur called him out to talk privately. He said the minister was trying to hide from Harry that his life was in danger, because Sirius Black escaped prison because he wanted to kill him to take revenge for Voldemort. Arthur told Potter to be careful and promise not to go looking for Black himself. Then the couple saw the children onto the train. Ron was so clumsy that he left his pet mouse behind. His mother chased and gave it to him. The rooms inside were full, so the 3 of them sat with Professor Lupin. While he was sleeping, Harry told his 2 friends everything. At this moment, the train suddenly shook violently. The lights were also lost because someone outside was approaching. Immediately the glass frosted over and it got cold. Outside the hallway, a Dementor from Azkaban with a tattered appearance appeared. He opened the door and looked inside, sucking the air as if he was drawn to Harry. When the Dementor was about to attack him, Lupin used his wand to produce a silver light. The Dementor was repelled and Harry lost consciousness. He woke up to the worry of his 2 friends because nothing was wrong with them. The teacher Lupin gave Potter some chocolate and then went out. Harry said he heard a woman screaming, but strangely the 2 friends didn't hear anything. Finally, everyone safely arrived at Hogwarts School. The feast began with a ghostly choir. The principal introduces Remus Lupin as the teacher who will be in charge of the defense against the Dark Arts Department. Hagrid will become a teacher of magical creature care. Malfoy teased Harry about him fainting on the train. Finally, Dumbledore announced Azkaban Dementors will set up posts at the entrances to search for Sirius Black. Students try to stay away from them because they are dangerous creatures. They can't tell friend from foe, so you might harm the person in front of you. Everyone returned one by one, but the Gryffindor portrait of the fat lady wouldn't let anyone in because she was busy singing opera. The singing sounded awful. Sir Cadogan challenged them to a duel before letting them in. Entering the room, the students all shared the magical candy. Neville looked like Snake, while Ron roared like a lion. While Ron eats, he releases smoke through his ears. Outside the school, Dementors roamed everywhere. The next morning, a bird happily sang everywhere. When it touched the Whomping Willow, it was smashed. Professor Trelawney of the subject of divination taught people the art of reading tea leaves by taking the tea leaves of the person next to them and looking them up in a book. When reading Ron's, he casually said that in the near future he would overcome difficult challenges happily. Trelawney took a look and threw the teacup down in panic, saying that Potter would see a Grim, a black dog, one of the darkest omens in the world, making the entire class tremble in fear. The next class, everyone went to see Uncle Hagrid. He led everyone into the forest. Neville was the king of bad luck and the king of accidents, so this time he was stepped on by a hippogriff and fell in a heap on the ground. When the group had gone a while, Malfoy started to act up. He openly mocked Hagrid, causing Harry to angrily speak up. When Malfoy got close to him, he pretended to scream that there were Dementors, causing Potter to turn back in fear. Hagrid introduces a hippogriff, a proud creature prone to anger. He asked who would come up and get acquainted first. Everyone retreated quickly, so Harry volunteered. He timidly walked closer and bowed. Hagrid said if it bows back, then you can touch it. Potter waited, and Buckbeak bowed down to him. Harry tried to approach, but Malfoy insulted the creature. Hermione was so nervous that she held Ron's hand, making the redhead blush. And then, after a few attempts, the hippogriff also let Harry touch him, and Harry rode on its back. Then he urged the hippogriff to fly up. It took him flying over the water. Harry happily stretched out his arms and shouted. A moment later, it brought him back. Everyone was extremely enthusiastic and applauded. Malfoy was angry and arrogantly disrespected the hippogriff, causing it to get angry and slash him and break his arm. Uncle Hagrid calmed it down and took Malfoy to the hospital wing. It's time for the students to visit Hogsmeade Village. During class, Mr. Lupin brought over a cupboard containing a boggart. Lupin then taught everyone a spell to fight it. So he invited Neville to practice. He asked him what he was most afraid of. Neville said Snape, Professor, making everyone below laugh. So the teacher told Neville to imagine Snape in his grandmother's clothes. It looked extremely funny. Then the whole group lined up and went up one by one. Ron remembered the spider incident the other day that made the boggart turn into a giant spider. Then Lupin let him put on 4 pairs of roller skates. The spider immediately slipped and fell on the floor. The next girl turned the big snake into a clown. But it was Harry's turn, and the boggart turned into a Dementor. Lupin immediately stood up to stop him, turning it into a full moon, then made it retract into the cupboard. The next day, everyone went to visit the village Hogsmeade. Only Harry cannot go because he does not have the guardian's signature. Potter asked Miss McGonagall, but she had no authority, so he sadly returned. Harry found Mr. Lupin and said that before he passed out, he heard a woman scream and he thought it was his mother. Lupin said Potter had eyes just like his mother's. Lily is a wonderful woman. He believes he is as talented as his parents. Everyone returned from sightseeing. Recounting everything in the village made Harry very excited. But immediately the whole crowd was in chaos because the fat lady in the portrait had disappeared with the canvas torn apart. Dumbledore asked the other portraits to search for the fat lady when he found her hiding in a picture of a knight. The fat lady in panic said she had met the murderer Sirius Black. The principal immediately gathered everyone in the Great Hall. The teachers split up to check everywhere, but there was no sign of him. The next day, Snape came to class to teach instead of Lupin. He asked what was the difference between werewolves and animagi. As usual, when Hermione raised her hand, he did not call on her. When she answered herself, he scolded her for being arrogant. Over here, Malfoy sent Harry a paper bird. In it, he drew a picture of the final match tomorrow, showing Harry hit in the head with a ball. The next day's match started on a stormy day. The rain flew everywhere, but still couldn't stop the screaming in the stands. Very quickly, a player was hit and fell down. Harry quickly dodged and circled the stands to chase the snitch. Both seekers went up high. Then the other team's seeker was knocked down. There's only Potter left in the sky now. Suddenly, he saw a cloud shaped like a black dog. But because the snitch lingers before my eyes, Harry didn't think much and chased after him. He flew higher and higher. The broom gradually stiffened, but Harry did not know that at this time, the Dementors had surrounded him. Harry fainted and fell downwards. When a Dementor blocked his way, it sucked Harry's emotions away, causing the boy to fall straight into the yard in fear. Dumbledore promptly used a spell to catch him. When Potter woke up, he found himself in the hospital wing, and with his friend's worries, Hermione said that Dementors were not allowed in the yard, and that the headmaster was angry when he saw them. And his broom was also broken into pieces. The next day, Harry asked Lupin why the Dementors kept targeting him. He said they suck out happy feelings, and because you have terrible memories in your past that other people don't, so it's easy to attract Dementors. He said instead of being embarrassed, Harry should be strong. When winter came, he was saddened to see everyone going to the village, so he used an invisibility cloak to secretly follow, but was caught by Ron's two brothers. They did not mean to hinder, but instead gave Potter a special map, the Marauder's map. It can see the location and movement of everyone in the castle. They then showed him one of the 7 secret passages out of the school, and then taught Harry the spell to close the map to avoid being discovered by others. He followed the instructions to the one-eyed witch passage, pushed the hump and crawled out, then went to the village. Harry grabbed a lollipop from the store and went out. Here, Hermione wanted to go see the Shrieking Shack, but Ron stubbornly refused to go with her. Malfoy was taunting them. Hermione stood up to respond and was scolded by him for being a mudblood. Right at this moment, a lump of snow hit Malfoy's face. He asked who did it in panic, but the response was dozens of other snowballs. Crabbe and Goyle were pelted. Malfoy was grabbed and spun around like crazy. Finally, that hateful boy was dragged some distance. They all screamed in fear and quickly ran away. As for the two of them, Hermione of course recognized this as her friend's work. So the three of them started walking. When they went to a pub, they saw Uncle Hagrid with Professor McGonagall. Harry, under his cloak, followed them. Ron and Hermione were not allowed in because they were not old enough. Harry sneaked into the room and heard the conversation between the minister, Mrs. McGonagall, and the innkeeper. They said Black was a friend of Harry's parents, but betrayed them and led Voldemort to kill them. Also killed another friend named Peter Pettigrew. He ran out indignantly and met Ron and Hermione on the street. The two friends quickly chased after him to a rock. Hermione pointed out his foot was visible. Seeing Hagrid crying, he told his two best friends everything and vowed to kill Black to avenge his parents. Winter gradually passed. Harry came to find Lupin to teach him the Patronus charm, a type of magic that acts as a shield against Dementors, by thinking about the happiest memory of the past. Potter closed his eyes and focused on following the instructions to find his memories. Then, Lupin released the boggart in the form of a Dementor. Harry recited a spell that did not work. Because he was so scared, he fainted again. The teacher woke him up and gave him a bar of chocolate. Lupin asked Harry what memory he was thinking about. He said the first time he rode a broom. The teacher said that was not enough, and Harry decided to think of something else. Then they started again. Lupin released the boggart. This time, Harry successfully created a silver mist, which gradually enveloped and pushed the Dementor back into the box. Mr. Lupin praised Harry. He said he thought about his parents, the two of them in his memory. It was the most wonderful memory. The next day, Ron was mad because he lost his pet rat, blaming it on Hermione's cat eating it. Then they came to find Hagrid. Harry asked him the Hippogriff trial the day before. Hagrid was okay, but unfortunately the Hippogriff was sentenced to death because Lucius Malfoy said it was an extremely aggressive and dangerous creature. At night, Harry used the map. He saw teachers moving around the school, but accidentally saw a name, Peter Pettigrew, whom McGonagall had mentioned. So Potter went to that location, but he saw nothing other than the complaints of the sleeping paintings. But suddenly, that name ran quickly towards Harry. He turned around in panic and only saw Ron and Hermione. But Snape was coming, so he closed the map. Harry said he was sleepwalking, but he didn't believe him and asked to see the map in his pocket. Luckily, Professor Lupin arrived. He said he would keep the map for investigation and then invited his office. Lupin blamed Harry for not being careful. If that map fell into Black's hands, he would surely die. Then confiscated the map and sent him back to his room. Before leaving, Harry told his teacher, "I saw a man named Peter on the map just now." Lupin was startled and said it couldn't be. The next day, in divination class, the teacher showed everyone the crystal ball. When Ron and Harry were about to nod off, Professor Trelawney arrived. Hermione said what she saw. Trelawney denied and said that the girl was not gifted. Because she was in a very bad mood, Hermione left, then Harry and Ron skipped class too. When returning, Harry saw the orb on the stairs, so he brought it back to the divination classroom. When he placed it on the table, he saw Black calling his name. Trelawney then spoke in a trance and said he would come find him tonight. The servant will be reunited with the master. Then she returned to normal and didn't remember what she said. Harry was extremely scared and ran out. The next day, the trio went to find Hagrid and saw he was upset. Inside, they saw Malfoy. The angry Hagrid rushed over and pointed his umbrella at his throat, causing him to almost pee in his pants. But then she also put it down. While he was smugly laughing, Hermione punched him and he fell. All three of them ran away. The trio went back to the castle, where Ron found his rat. Hermione is asking for an apology. Then someone threw stones outside. Hagrid chased all three out the back door. While hiding behind a pile of pumpkins, Hermione suddenly saw Harry under his cloak, but thought it was because she was dizzy. Then they stood on a high hill and watched the hippogriff be beheaded. Hermione was so heartbroken that she hugged Ron's neck and cried. At this moment, the rat suddenly bit Ron's hand, then ran away. He chased after it towards the willow tree. Before Harry could warn him, Ron shouted that behind everyone there was a black dog. It dragged Ron into a hole at the base of the willow tree. The two chased it and were attacked by the willow branches. Harry was attacked and his glasses fell off. Hermione found a stick and poked a knot on the trunk. The tree froze. They dragged Ron into the hole, and Harry and Hermione followed. They went down a tunnel and saw Ron sitting in the corner of the shrieking shack. He said that Black Dog was black. At this moment, he walked in from the door. Hermione was afraid that he would harm Potter, so she stood in front of him. Harry could not contain his anger and rushed to strangle him and throw him to the ground. Just as he was about to cast a spell, Lupin rushed in to take Harry's wand away. The two of them are old acquaintances, and Lupin embraced Black intimately. Hermione was extremely shocked and revealed that Lupin is a werewolf because he always disappears every time the moon is full. Lupin was not angry and praised her for being very smart. But Black was very urgent and wanted to kill the rat. So Lupin gave Black his wand, then decided to tell Harry the truth. The person who betrayed his parents is Peter Pettigrew. He is not dead, but is still right here. As Black approached Ron, Snape arrived and pointed his wand at Black. Black tried to explain, but Snape pressed his wand against his neck, wanting to hand him over to the Dementors. Harry cast a spell, knocking Snape unconscious. Because he wanted to know who the Peter they talked about was, Black suddenly pointed at Ron's rat. It turns out that Peter is the rat that is Ron's pet. That year, Peter cut off a finger to trick everyone into thinking he was dead, then turned into a rat and stayed with the Weasleys for 12 years. Black snatched it from Ron's pocket and placed it on the table. Scabbers immediately tried to run away, but when he tried to go through a hole, Lupin and Black blocked him with their wands. So he got stuck against the wall and was forced out by Lupin. He pleaded with his old friends. He admitted that he betrayed Harry's parents because he was afraid of death. Just as Lupin and Black were about to kill Peter, Harry told them to stop, saying they should hand him over to the Dementors. Hermione stayed to take care of Ron, and Potter came to Black's side, comforting him because of his injustice and suffering in prison for so many years. The rat said he was just a pet, and begged them not to send him to Azkaban. Black asked Harry if he wanted to live with his godfather. Before he could answer, Hermione realized that this was a full moon night. Lupin was turning into a werewolf. Black transformed into the dog to distract him. In the chaos, Peter picked up a wand and disarmed the others. He turned into a rat and ran away. Lupin had turned into a bloodthirsty werewolf, kicked Black away, and turned on the children. The black dog flew to wrestle with the werewolf. The two beasts rushed at each other and fiercely bit each other. The dog lures the werewolf into the forest. Harry chased after him. The werewolf screamed and ran away. Black, seriously injured, transformed back into human form. Harry followed him to the lakeshore. The water surface suddenly got cold, and the Dementors came and flew above them. One Dementor rushed down to attack Black. Harry used the Patronus charm. They were stopped for a while, but when the magic stopped working, they attacked, causing him and Black great pain. Harry saw a figure across the lake cast a powerful Patronus. It emitted a bright light that chased away all the Dementors. Harry fainted. He woke up in the hospital wing. Hermione informed him that Black had been captured and was about to have his soul sucked away. The three told the principal the truth about the past, but Fudge believed no one and even dismissed Ron's broken leg. In the end, Dumbledore hinted to Hermione to use her time turner. They would go back in time to rescue Black and return before anyone noticed. The principal said if they succeed, they will save more than one life. Hermione put the time turner on herself and Harry, then rotated it. Time was reversed. Both returned to the time before the Hippogriff was beheaded. They quickly ran to Uncle Hagrid's house and saw themselves arguing outside. The two moved to the side to avoid detection, then went down and hid behind a pile of pumpkins. Seeing the principal and minister coming, Hermione threw warning stones inside. But it turned out that the stones they had seen were thrown by their future selves. At this moment, the back door opened. The two quickly hid behind the tree trunk. Hermione was almost discovered by her past self. Harry then approached the Hippogriff and released it. He pulled the leash, but it refused to follow. Hermione cleverly used some dead poultry to lure it. Inside, the group of ministers had arrived. Luckily, Dumbledore kept distracting him, and when they looked, the Hippogriff was gone. So the executioner could only cut down a pumpkin. The two hairy people led Buckbeak into the forest. Standing from afar, they watched themselves, Lupin, and the others enter the Shrieking Shack one by one. While waiting, Harry told Hermione about being saved by someone he assumed was his father. Potter also said that he wanted to be with his Uncle Sirius in the future. The time had come, and they both ran towards the forest. It was Hermione who pretended to be a wolf howling to lure Lupin away, and the two ran and hid behind a tree. They kept wandering around and were found by the werewolf. Harry covered Hermione, and at this moment, the Hippogriff rushed forward and gave the werewolf a kick. It ran away. Suddenly, the cold came. It was the Dementors that came. They both rushed to the lake, saw Harry and Uncle Sirius being fiercely attacked. But Harry believed his father would appear and save him. But after waiting for a long time, no one came. So he ran to the lakeshore. He recited the magic spell to cast the Patronus charm, and the Dementors were immediately pushed away by a powerful silver light. It turned out that the person who saved Potter was himself. Then the two rode the Hippogriff to the high tower, and Hermione used magic to free Sirius. They landed on campus. Uncle Sirius said as long as Harry believes in him and that love is never lost, they can always find it, and then touched Harry's heart. Then he rode away on the Hippogriff. The two quickly ran back to the hospital wing right as the clock ran out. They met Dumbledore. He acted like he didn't know anything and then went away. They entered the room and saw their other selves inside disappear. Ron was extremely surprised to see two people who had just been standing here running in from the door. The next morning, Potter came to find Lupin. He said he submitted his resignation letter because his identity was exposed. Harry felt useless for letting the old rat escape. Lupin said that was not the case. At least he saved an innocent life. He then left Potter the map and left. Harry came to the dining room, was welcomed by everyone in Gryffindor. He received an anonymous gift, a firebolt broom with a hippogriff feather. They were all excited to bring the broom to the yard to try it out. It soared and took Harry far away. He was both happy and scared at the same time. The movie ends here. Part 3 is still Harry's journey to find the truth. The boy finally has a godfather who truly loves him. Thanks for watching. If you find it interesting, please give me a like, along with a comment about this movie. Especially, please subscribe to the channel to follow my latest movie recaps. Goodbye, and see you again in the next videos, and stay tuned for the rest of Harry Potter.